You cannot live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me. Yeah, there are going to be jokes about this one, man. Because today we are diving into an article posted by Arthur Staple on The Athletic. And I wanted to go and give a big shout out over to Staple for giving us some great entertainment for today. This piece is going to be linked in the description. It talks about the New York Rangers, and it asks what an ideal Rangers offseason would look like, as well as a nightmare offseason. And I know the protocol for this stuff is like, hey, it's The Athletic, it's paid for content, it's behind a paywall, you're kind of infringing on that if you screenshot it and post it somewhere, but the article opens up by saying, yeah, there are going to be jokes. And not necessarily the jokes that you might think when you looked at a Rangers article with a picture of JT Miller and Brock Boeser in Vancouver uniforms on the cover. The article opens up by satirically poking fun at the Rangers, saying, hey, they already had a nightmare season. But that's kind of where the humor is. Oh, it's not necessarily in the fact that you're seeing the cover right here. Let's talk about what Arthur Staple proposes for the Rangers. Because scrolling down here in this piece, when you look at what Staple's proposed forward core for the Rangers is, via puckpedia.com, you've got a first line on New York of Artemi Panarin, Vinny Trocheck, and Alexis Lafreniere. You have a second line of Will Cooley, JT Miller, and Brock Boeser? What in the world? Third line, you've got Brett Berard, Adam Gaudette, and Gabe Perreault. What in the world is this? Arthur Staple proposes that the Rangers trade Chris Kreider away, he proposes that they trade Zibanejad away, and then Staple proposes that the Rangers sign unrestricted free agent Brock Boeser to a 3-year deal worth $6 million a year. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, wait, what? There's no way that's going to go down. Firstly, the implication as to what a 3-year, $6 million AAV deal would look like for Brock Boeser with the Rangers. I wonder if Arthur Staple understands just how bad that would be messaging-wise. Not from the Rangers themselves. Okay, they're signing a free agent, they're bringing a guy in, they want to improve their team. Okay, whoop-de-doo, that's fine. But I'm thinking about this from the Vancouver angle. The Canucks already offered Brock Boeser a, I'm going to say, not reasonable contract of $8 million a year for 5 years. And he said no. He wanted more money than that. Not per year, but he wanted more term. And then you've got folks like AFP Analytics and all these other people saying, oh yeah, Brock's gonna get a big dollar amount deal on the free agent market because he's a goal scorer and goal scorers are worth a premium in the National Hockey League. Like 8.5, 8.2, 7 years and stuff like that. This guy's gonna get paid. At least that's what the idea is. We don't know for sure if that's gonna happen. It's not July 1st after all. But still, Brock is in a spot where if he gets like an $8.2 million, 6-year, 7-year deal on the open market, I wouldn't be too surprised. We've seen NHL teams overpay for goal-scoring wingers in the free agent market like crazy in the past. And I think that crazy offseason back in, 2016 or whatever it was, is like the epitome of that, with Louis Eriksson, Milan Lucic, and so on. Anyways, let's not reopen some old wounds here. But Brock Boeser, if he rejected a $40 million contract in order to get a $18 million contract with the Rangers, the reason the messaging is so bad in that scenario is it's because, like, hey, this guy would have taken a significant, extreme discount to go over to the Rangers to play with JT Miller again. Like, that's the biggest buddy you're washed moment that you could have for this guy. He gets a 40-goal season in Vancouver. The GM calls him out and says, hey, you could have gotten 50. And then he's like, okay, I'll try to do better next year. His center in JT starts playing poorly again. The top center in Pettersson plays poorly. Everybody plays poorly. Brock Boeser doesn't get nearly as many goals, and then he has the gall to reject a $40 million contract in order to take a $6 million AAV deal with the Rangers to go back with JT? Not to mention the fact that this article even proposes Adam Gaudette being acquired by New York too, and Nate Schmidt on the blue line. Staples' ideal offseason for the Rangers involves them acquiring 3 former Vancouver Canucks. That's so interesting to me, man. Now, I will say, there was another update that I wanted to go out there and talk about in regards to Brock Boeser and the Canucks. I did say in the title and the thumbnail, this is a Boeser update after all, and I wanted to refer to the commentary made by Patrick Allvin earlier this week about Brock Boeser, because I don't think we actually talked about this when it happened, but an article from Patrick Johnson on The Province, this one will be screenshotted because it's on The Province and not The Athletic. It'll also be linked in the description for your viewing pleasure. This article asks as to whether or not the door is still open for a Brock Boeser reunion. Here are the comments made by Patrick Allvin during the Vancouver Canucks season ticket holders press conference there. We're going to see if there's a chance to keep Brock Boeser. And now that I'm realizing it, hey, these comments were from about a week ago. Given the previous rhetoric, though, especially how Allvin framed Boeser's value at the trade deadline, the frustration from Boeser's camp about it all, it's hard to imagine that door is wide open, PJ writes. There's been plenty of time for the team to figure out an offer and put one on the table that's closer to what Boeser's agent Ben Hankinson believes his client can get on the open market. Brock is surely willing to take a hometown discount, that's how much he likes living in Vancouver, but he's also not going to give away what might be the only big payday in his career, especially with where the Canucks now find themselves. The article then dives into the hypotheticals, how Rick Tocchet plays into this, and how his departure could have a big dampen on whether or not there was a likelihood that Brock ends up re-signing. It's not hard to conclude that the door to re-sign Boeser closed at the trade deadline. The player has been very clear to the Canucks about what he believes he's worth, and that position has not changed. Boeser and Hankinson know the teams out there do like him. Could a hometown reunion in Minnesota be in the cards? What about a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, who we know have expressed interest in him before? And here's the damn thing. Boeser didn't get that huge contract rejected in Vancouver just to sign an $18 million deal with the Rangers. As much as it seems attractive that he could go over to play with JT Miller one more time, it is so funny how this one passed through and was even published and written about, because now we can talk about it on this video like, hey, there's no way a team is signing Boeser for that cheap. Like, I know he likes playing with Miller, but man, that's not going to happen. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Brock Boeser update, and what are your thoughts on a ridiculously low contract getting signed by him with the Big Apple? If that does go down, which is not going to, but if it does go down, what does that say about the messaging here? How does that get perceived? With the Rangers being able to get Brock to a really cheap deal, sign him to a contract that's cheaper AAV-wise than what he's making right now. We didn't even talk about that part of it. Brock's making 6.6 right now, and he has been for the past few years. I get that his value is lower than it was last year when he had 40 goals, but there's no way the guy's signing for even cheaper on the free agent market just so he can play with his old buddy JT Miller. And it's not even guaranteed that they're going to be successful again, because this season, I mean, we saw Brock not scoring all too much with JT in the lineup anyway. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this ridiculous Brock Boeser update in regards to the Rangers and whether or not he could sign for extremely cheap with that team? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. If you're a Rangers fan, what are your thoughts on this? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.